It's Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank, WCCS AM 1160 and FM 101.1. It's time for one of our favorite interviews of the whole year.
Well, you're hard up.
That time of the year when we talk about the Friends of the Parks. Jim Rogers is with us this morning. No, it really is, because you give us a brochure every year when you come in at this time, outlining what all of these wonderful programs will be that are going on at the Indiana County Parks. And
yeah.
There are so many of them.
A record number this year, 43.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gazette Printer said, we might not be able to fit all these.
So you said our people can wear their
Yes.
readers, and we'll make the print smaller.
Yeah, there's a word limit next year on the descriptions for sure.
Well, it is indeed exciting to know that Friends of the Parks is still able to get out there and to do some wonderful things. You can view the schedule online, can't you?
Yes, you can. IndianaCountyParks.org. It's always posted there. There's a little Friends of the Parks tab, and that's where our electronic edition of the brochure lives.
And you can also pick it up at various places or have it mailed to you even?
We just did mail out 150 this week.
Oh.
You can pick them up at our kickoff dinner event this Saturday night. You can pick them up across the street at the Indiana Public Library, at the Indiana County Tourist Bureau, out in the mall, at Yellow Creek State Park, or at Blue Spruce Park.
All right. So we're going to talk about some of these events, but you just mentioned something that is coming up on Saturday.
Yeah,
Tell us about the annual meeting.
It's our annual kickoff event. It's a potluck dinner. It's taking place out at the Indiana Fire Association's White Township Station. Gets underway at 6 o'clock this Saturday. And we have a program by this woman I vaguely know. Her name's Cindy Rogers.
Oh,
yeah. I'm better known as Mr. Cindy Rogers. Did you know that?
I believe it. I believe it for everything that she's involved in. Now, what are you bringing? Or is she cooking or you?
No, I actually do the ham. I bake the ham.
Okay.
And take the ham, and we also have fried chicken, and we have a cake, and then we ask people to bring something that they like, that's a favorite dish of their family, a side dish, a main dish, a dessert, whatever. And let me tell you, you want some good eating. Oh, man.
Taters and noodles.
Oh, man, taters and noodles, meatballs, rigatoni, you name
stop
it,
it
man.
now.
Oh,
Stop it, I'm getting
so
hungry.
much good food.
So anybody can go?
Yes, anyone can go. You do not have to be a member. We hope you will join us, for membership, which is a very reasonable yearly membership fee. I have to look because I've forgotten. It's only $10 for an individual, $15 for a family.
So reasonable, he forgot.
Yeah, and the money we raise, basically what we try to do every year is give as much as we can to Yellow Creek State Park and Indiana County Parks and Trails. This past year, we were able to up that amount by $200 to each unit, so we give them each $800 this past year. And our goal is to raise that every year if we can, because they need help.
So people want to go. It's the Indiana Fire Station West.
1555 Indian Springs Road.
Right there at the intersection.
Right there at that intersection. That was very much in the news this morning.
yeah, it was. There was an accident there this morning,
Yep.
but we understand that Jim Rogers had nothing to do with that accident.
No, I came from the other end.
What time do they need to show up?
6 o'clock.
That's
Yep.
when the event actually begins?
That's when it begins.
Okay.
Yep, you can get there a little early if you want. Of course, we will talk a little bit about Friends of the Parks. Barb Haig will talk a little bit about the Indiana County Decathlon. And then we'll have dinner, and then a presentation by Cindy on her latest world venture, which was basically to the most remote island in the world, Easter Island. And then she went to the Patagonia region of Chile and Argentina and all the way down to the Strait of Magellan.
How far will your wife go to get away from you?
Well, on a personal note, this Monday was 46 years.
Was it really?
And 51 if you add the 5 before we got married.
Congratulations.
So if you want to question Cindy's judgment, that's the one area.
Maybe they don't want to go on this trip. But this is a trip that has yet to be taken, yes?
No, she took it.
She took it?
Yeah. She reduced her slide library from like 8,000 down to several hundred, a few of which we'll get to view on Saturday night.
Well, the reason I said that was because there's a number to pre-register listed by the event.
Oh, that's we ask people to pre-register so we know how many people are coming to the event.
Okay.
By calling Blue Spruce Park at 724-463-8636.
Okay, so folks can call. Just tell you they're coming to the
we
dinner.
already have 60 people that pre-registered for it. We usually get anywhere from from 70 to 100, depending on the weather a lot
So
of times.
463-8636 is the number to call to let them know you want to come to the dinner on Saturday night at 6 at the Indiana Fire Station.
Yeah, we'll let you in even if you don't pre-register, though. So we're very flexible.
When she was in Easter Island, was she so far away from you that you couldn't have contact with her? Did she have cell?
There was some cell service, yes. We were wondering about Skyping, but that did not happen. So,
Did she call anyway?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is the big kickoff event coming up on
Yep.
Saturday, but it really does kick off a whole year's worth of activities.
Yes, it does. Yeah, we get right into it on February 9th with another travel program from Rebecca Sturley, who is our newsletter editor, and she makes very creative and interesting presentations when she does her travel trips. She went out to the Western National Parks here in the United States, so that'll be fascinating.
You know who else did that last year? Last year or the year before? Jack Benedict.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the Western, and he said it was wonderful.
Oh, they're just amazing. It's been a while since I've been there. I did it shortly after I got out of the service. Cindy and I did a cross-country trip, and we hit all the great parks out there, and it was just fantastic.
So that's at Blue Spruce Park Lodge on the 9th of February.
That is, yep. And then the next day, we have one of our first events in association with the decathlon. It's the Chili Walk out at Blue Spruce Park. Join Barb and Ed Patterson and Ray Winstead from our board of directors will be the hosts for that, and take a nice walk through Blue Spruce and then have a great bowl of chili.
Yeah, Barb said that last year's event was a resounding success.
It was.
And the chili was fantastic.
And there wasn't a drop left. Yeah.
So all of these programs are available to anybody to come and experience.
Yes. You don't have to be a member of Friends of the Parks. We'd like you to join us. We'd like you to help, because we are an organization basically that exists for two purposes: to do these programs and to support our local parks systems.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. We're a nonprofit. We work through the Community Foundation for the Alleghenies. Becoming a member is very easy. You can do it the old-fashioned way by ripping off this form and the brochure and sending it in. You can log on to the Community Foundation for the Alleghenies website and do it, and then look what's there. QR codes. How contemporary and modern are we?
Wow.
So people with those smartphones can just scan that little QR code. They'll go right to the Community Foundation for the Alleghenies website and be able to scroll down and find Friends of the Parks, Indiana County, and enroll.
Now, am I correct in saying that these programs are all free all year long?
They are. Everyone is free, yes.
Wow.
Yep.
What a great resource.
Yeah, we have environmental programs, educational programs, programs about traveling, many of the ones about different kinds of critters that are here in the Indiana County. We have a lot of new programs this year. On one in particular that sounds interesting to me is called Nature and Well-Being, and it's going to be done by Don Robertson from IUP, and it's about how nature can make us feel good and make us feel better.
And that's just in a couple of weeks, too.
Yeah.
That's on the 17th
That's
of
coming up
February.
shortly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Blue Spruce Park Lodge. The locations for most of these are going to be in our county parks, aren't they?
For the most part, yes. Most of them are at Blue Spruce or the Environmental Learning Center at Yellow Creek or on one of the trails at either of those two parks. We also have a program this year at Memorial Park here in town, a yoga program.
Yoga?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and also at Old Smicksburg Park up in Smicksburg, one of the parks that a lot of people aren't that familiar with in the system. Ed Patterson's going to talk about the history of Smicksburg and take a walk through the Old Smicksburg Park and go over to the History Center there.
My son volunteered at that museum last summer, and one of the things that you understand as soon as you walk into it is Smicksburg, as small as it is, used to be, well, at least twice the size that it is right now.
Yeah.
When they built the dam, the Mahoning Dam, that's when they took half the town because
is that right?
it's in the floodplain.
I'll be darned.
See, so that's why Smicksburg Park that you'll be walking on has all those old home foundations. Those homes were taken out of there. The cemeteries were moved out from Smicksburg to West Mahoning Township, a couple of miles away.
Wow.
Because that's the floodplain for the Mahoning Dam.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's, I'm sure Ed will get into a lot of that.
Yep.
Yeah, so all of these programs, and you can get a look at them simply by visiting the Friends of the Park website. As Jim told you, all those other ways that you can find out, IndianaCountyParks.org. So, there you go. Do you have the ham? How big is it?
I
You're
didn't
feeding
get,
at least 60,
I'm
right?
going to get it now, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Right. So I usually just go out there and say, give me the biggest one you got.
Pigs are fearful for their lives right now.
They're running to the corner. Safety in numbers.
Yeah, if you think of it, get two, as they say. Jim Rogers, our guest, Friends of the Parks. It really is a fun organization, isn't it?
It is. We're in our 34th year. It was started by Joanne Henry. Ed and I have had some discussions. Ed has a little different figure on that because it went by a different name initially when Joanne started it, but it became Friends of the Parks in the second or third year, something like that. Mm-hmm. So that's how long it's been going on. And it's, again, an all-volunteer organization, and we just try to present interesting programs on all kinds of facets of nature. Mm-hmm. As you can see, we're covering a lot of different critters this year. We also have a lot of programs that would be of interest to town residents, like the one that talks about Marsh Run and the flooding that goes on there. Katie Farnsworth from IUP will cover a program on that. So
wonderful things that'll be happening with Friends of the Parks.
Yep.
All right, Jimmy. Thanks so much for coming in to be with us.
Thanks for having us, Todd. We appreciate it every year.
May the 5th is the yoga in the park where you get to see Jim do the downward dog.
I wouldn't count on that.
Okay, then. He is Jim Rogers. Thanks so much. It's Indiana in the Morning on AM 1160 WCCS 101.1 FM.